Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Richmond Raceway, as we are here for the 8th race of the season in season number 1 of the Wawa Pro Series. Once we are complete with today's feature event, we will officially be past halfway in this first season. And we are in store for an interesting race here today. Only our second short track of the season for these drivers, but it's not going to stop them from putting on a good show. We might not see as much passing as we did in the prior two races, but that's what makes this series very interesting, and all the series that we do. There are a wide variety of racetracks and a wide variety of styles of racing, and we should have another interesting one here at Richmond. You watched the sprint race yesterday. You saw Vlad Prescott lead from flag to flag. However, he had the third fastest lap time in yesterday's sprint race, so he's not going to be starting on the pole. That fastest time was set by Dylan Young, who has not received any championship points since our last short track race, which was the first race of the season back in early December in New Smyrna. So it's been 2.5 months since Dylan Young has received any championship points in this series. A massive, massive opportunity for him, though, to rebound from all of that. If he wins today, he'll be putting himself top 10 in points midway through the season with only 2 top 10s on the season. It's the interesting thing about this points format, but it may favor Dylan Young here as the season rolls along. We're in the point standings. Noah Clifton is still our points leader, but he's losing a bit of touch from this points lead, and he could very well lose it at the end of the day. He starts in the 22nd position, but he does hold a 3-point lead on Will Parrish. Of course, Will Parrish's streak of top 10 finishes ended last time out at Charlotte. You have Hunter Braxton, though, who is going to be starting in the 8th position, only 8 points behind. Braxton finishing 2nd yesterday in the sprint race, receiving 2 championship points. Jesse Turner is 10 points behind. You got Nathan Ormond, Seth Cole, and Vlad Prescott, all with opportunities at taking the points lead away from Noah Clifton at the end of the day. It's going to take a little bit for that to happen for some of those guys, but it's very possible that we could even see Vlad Prescott, who won our last race and won the sprint race yesterday, actually take the points lead away from Noah Clifton. If he wins the race, gets the fastest lap, and Clifton falls outside the top 10. So, going to be an interesting one here from Richmond. Dylan Young on the pole in the number 2. As we said, he grabbed the fastest lap in the sprint race yesterday. Alongside him is theoretical teammate of Chris Reynolds, the number 22 machine, who's also had a great season. He is only 30 points behind coming into this race. Vlad Prescott, the winner of the sprint race yesterday, alongside Zach Winkle. Nathan Stapleton and Nathan Ormond make up row number 3. Then you have Dan Park, who is still going for his first feature top 10. He has 2 points on the season from a sprint race at New Smyrna, but he has not pointed since that New Smyrna race as well. But an opportunity for him here today at Richmond. And then Hunter Braxton, who won 2 races ago at Talladega. Got Ethan Lewis, who finished 3rd in the sprint race yesterday alongside Trey Wright in the number 23. Jesse Turner right behind him, starting in the 11th position alongside Zachary Fitzwater, 2 of the winningest drivers on the channel, and 2 drivers who are going to be racing full-time in the IndyCar Series as well. A couple of guys we haven't seen that much of in the IndyCar Series in the past. Definitely looking forward to see those 2 longtime veterans with a combined 43 wins on the channel, duking it out over there as well. William Brock and Logan Williams make up row number 7. Then you got Nathan Faden, Will Parrish, Seth Cole, Priya McShane, Ryan Durrani, Brandon Nelson, Noah Clifton, and Thomas Troxel. Then you got Christian Master and Brendan Wilmington. Wilmington getting shot into the outside wall in yesterday's race. It's an interesting one for him there. He did not get a good run in the sprint race. Looking for something different here today. We're ready to get this one started. Pace cars down the pit lane. Dylan Young and Chris Reynolds lead us to the green flag, and we're racing in the capital city 65K. Gonna be a close one coming to the line. It's Dylan Young who leads lap number 1 here at Richmond. Vlad Prescott, though, dove right to the inside on the opening lap and trying to take this lead away from the number 2. Of course, Vlad Prescott led flag to flag in the sprint race yesterday. And have a good shot at doing that here if he can take this lead away from Dylan Young. But Young holding strong in this outside lane. But he's going to have to give this up. He's going to have an opportunity at holding on to this race lead. Zach Winkle also right there as well in number 12. And these guys are a lot closer to each other than they were in yesterday's sprint race. Dylan Young still trying to hang on and then outside. He's doing an excellent job up top right there. About a 42-lap fuel run in this race as well, so tire wear will come into effect later on in the race, and they're going to have to come down the pit lane for fuel at some point. So we're going to have ourselves a very interesting 54-lap event here at Richmond. Dylan Young, though, will he be able to hold on in that outside lane? It looks like he's finally going to lose it. Vlad Prescott takes the lead away from Dylan Young. Will Chris Reynolds let Dylan Young slip right inside? He will. Chris Young was really strong in that outside lane there. Just didn't get a good start. We'll have to see if he can close back in and get around the 8 machine of Vlad Prescott. Chris Reynolds there in the 3rd position. He started up on the outside pole. How about Dan Park, who is trying all he can to get something to go his way. Coming in this race, only 2 total points towards the championship. And like I said, those 2 points came with a runner-up finish in the sprint race at New Smyrna all the way back in December, just like Dylan Young. So 2 guys who have not received any points in this series since the first race of the season. Ethan Lewis here with an issue. He was going to the inside of Zach Winkle, but a problem on the number 20 on lap number 6. That was going to be a top 10 run for him, and now it looks like his opportunity at winning here today or getting any sort of championship points is going to end right here. More than likely, that's going to send him to the back of the field, at least multiple laps down, so tough break there for Ethan Lewis, who received the championship point yesterday for finishing 3rd in the sprint race. Looks like those are going to be the only points he receives this weekend. Now, Vlad Prescott here looking to really jump in the points here. Coming into the Charlotte race, he was 19th in points, comes in 7th here today, and with another win, could theoretically take the points lead. That fastest lap, though, is currently held by Zach Winkle in the number 12, who currently runs in the 12th, or should I say, 5th position. So as long as he finishes top 10 and holds on to that fastest lap, which he isn't, that's Nathan Faden who now has the fastest lap, running 7th right now. Seth Cole's inside the top 10. Hunter Braxton is there as well, and you got Logan Williams rounding out the top 9 with Christian Master holding on to the last point here on lap number 9 of 54. Dylan Young is not going to let Vlad Prescott have this win easy. Of course, Dylan Young knows this is a huge opportunity for him to rebound his season, and it looks like he is going to get a nose to the inside down the backstretch. I think Dylan Young, he might have the fastest car on the racetrack here today. Of course, in that sprint race, Vlad Prescott was pulling away from the field, but right now, he is not pulling away at all from Dylan Young. And back to the inside for the race lead on lap 11. Dylan Young looking to take it away from Prescott. Going to be side by side off the corner right there. Chris Reynolds now to the inside for 2nd on Vlad Prescott. That's a pretty big point swing right there for Prescott. 10 points from the lead to 3rd place in 1 lap, but it's far from over in this race. Like I mentioned, we're going to have a cycle of pit stops. We got about a 42-lap fuel run here at the Richmond Raceway, so that's definitely going to come into play. But we got a new race leader. It's Dylan Young in the number 2. Chris Reynolds, though, is right behind Dylan Young, and Reynolds may have a shot at taking this race lead away from the number 2. Dan Park is here as well. Zach Winkle, top 5, all on each other. They are not spreading out like they did in yesterday's race. Nathan Faden, Seth Cole, Hunter Braxton, Christian Master, Logan Williams. That's the top 10 as of right now. The only guys that really matter in terms of anything towards the championship. Ethan Lewis did get back out there. He is currently 1 lap down, and if he is anywhere off the pace, he will be 2 laps down here very soon. A little bit of a different pace of a race here at Richmond than it is at Charlotte. At Charlotte, we get a lot of passing and a lot of things going on there. Of course, obviously, we came from Talladega a couple weeks ago, and that's also a crazy racetrack. They're constantly passing here. You have to work for your passes, and that's what makes it a little interesting here at the Richmond Raceway. And if you get that pass for the race lead like Dylan Young did just there, you earned it. And that definitely showcases that Dylan Young has a fast race car here in this Capital City 65K. It's very interesting, too. He has not even received a top 10 finish in a feature event since that first race of the season at New Smyrna, which happened to also be a short track like this one. But Richmond Richmond's a pretty fast-paced short track, generally speaking. It's a fast one here at the Richmond Raceway, and we'll have to see if that short track experience is going to play into his favor once we hit the Martinsville later on in the season as well. But so far, it's working out pretty well for him. But Chris Reynolds is not letting him have it easy. And this number 22 is coming, and he's got to run to the inside for the race lead on lap 17. So in the span of the lap time that we had in yesterday's sprint race, we have already had 3 lead changes, or will we? Got ahead of myself right there. Dylan Young really working that outside lane well in today's event. As we saw at the beginning of the show, of course, it's really difficult to work that outside lane, but he was able to hold it for a couple laps on Vlad Prescott at the beginning of the race. Dan Park trying to close in on Vlad Prescott. Now you got Nathan Faden right on these guys as well. And with that cycle of pit stops, that's going to open the door for any of these guys. Just play a little strategy and they may get an advantage. And with that cycle, if this race stays green, we could see some guys possibly go 2 tires on the stop and really get a gap, or even no tires. However, they're going to lose a lot of time when they're out there on the racetrack. The good thing for them, however, in that scenario is they're only going to have a few laps to hold everyone off. So we'll have to see if that strategy does in fact play out for somebody who may not even be top 10 in this race. He may not be going for the win, but say you're someone like Nathan Norman, William Brock, Priya McShane, Jesse Turner, you're outside the top 10, you stay out, only take fuel on the pit stop, you gain a lot of ground, and you hold these guys off and get some points. Nathan Faden looking to get some points right here, trying to get to the inside of Zach Winkle. He's going to get it here as they enter turn number 3. And Nathan Faden now moving up inside the top 5 here at Richmond as Winkle falls back to the 6th position. Chris Reynolds holds on to the fastest lap now on the number 22 machine. And that's an extra bonus point for Reynolds as long as he finishes top 10 and holds on to that fastest lap. He is still hanging right there with Dylan Young in that number 2 machine. Winkle continuing to fall back, and now we're starting to see that tire wear really come into play. Some guys are going to manage it way better than others, and you're going to see some comers and goers throughout the racetrack, and I think Winkle's one of these guys who's going. Hunter Braxton going for 6th. He's had a really strong run as of late, only 8 points behind Noah Clifton. And with that move right there, Hunter Braxton would take the points lead heading into our next race at Watkins Glen. So that's a big move right there. Noah Clifton, our points leader, is deep in the field. Same with Will Parrish, 2 guys who were very strong early on in this season, even leading into last week's race. These are the top 2 guys in points right now who are essentially in the last 2 running positions. 22nd and 23rd for those guys, all the way in the back of the field. Of course, Ethan Lewis a lap down after his issue earlier on in the race. But it's not looking like either of our top 2 drivers in points are going to receive any championship points here today. And we could easily see Hunter Braxton, who continues to move his way through the field, currently running in that 7th position. That's for 8th. So he's got 8 points right there, and that right there would tie him with Noah Clifton. So I might have gotten ahead of myself. I thought he was going for the 6th position there when he got around Master. He is, in fact, going. Actually, he almost got around Zach Winkle. I think Winkle got back around him, and I just forgot that Winkle felt... Winkle must have gotten back around him, because I swear Hunter Braxton passed him earlier. I'm getting old. Zach Winkle, though, holding on to 6, Hunter Braxton in 7th. So at the moment, it's a tie for the points lead between Braxton and Clifton heading in the Watkins Glen. Seth Cole looking on Master. He's going to dive it right in for 8th. You have Logan Williams holding on to that last point, but Nathan Orman looking to take that away from him and go back to the race lead. And Prescott's fallen off a little bit from the top 2. Reynolds and Young have pulled away about a 2 3/4 on the rest of the field here, while Prescott's still trying to hold off Dan Park and Nathan Faden. Faden looking really strong here today in that number 99 machine. Now, some of these guys are going to be in the IndyCar Series this year, and the IndyCar Series will be coming here to Richmond later on in the year, I believe early April, so even though it's a completely different car than what they're going to be racing with, I should say, that experience could definitely come into hand for that IndyCar race coming up in just a couple of months. Halfway already through this Capital City 65K. Only a 54-lap race here today, so it was a relatively short race, and we've had a clean one so far, because we had that wreck yesterday with Brendan Wilmington smashing the outside wall. And then Braxton got back around Winkle, so I was right. Braxton had to have gotten back around. Had to have gotten around Zach Winkle initially. Winkle took it away from him, and then Braxton took it away again. So now Braxton has the points lead by 2 points ahead of Noah Clifton. Reynolds still has the fastest lap, though, in the race, so that's probably going to stay that way. Now we may see some fast laps once the cycle of pit stops completes. But as of right now, Hunter Braxton's going to be taking that points lead away. He's been really solid as of late here, and of course, getting a good run at Charlotte definitely helped him to get a good run here at Richmond, because in that sprint race he started up front and he got a decent time in that event. Now he's running 6th here at Richmond, and that's a good place to run. Seth Cole there in 8th ahead of Christian Master, and then you got Logan Williams there rounding out the top 10. Dylan Young's holding off Chris Reynolds fairly well here, but the big question is going to be on this cycle of pit stops, coming in about 10 laps. Of course, if we get a caution at any time here, they're going to come down the pit lane, no doubt about it. They have calmed it down inside the top 10. We still got some movement back in here. Trey Wright, Ryan Durrani making some moves back in here. I'd watch out for guys like Orman, McShane, Turner, William Brock to possibly play a little strategy and get inside the top 10, get some points, especially for Turner, because Turner, he's still right within grasp of this championship as of right now, but he hasn't really gotten any points in any of these feature events. He's gotten some points, gotten a couple of wins in the sprint races, so he's gotten something out of this, but he'd love to get some points in a feature event and move himself a little bit higher in the points, as Nathan Orman's going to take the last point from Logan Williams. Good move right there out of Nathan Orman to take that away from the number 6 machine, and Turner's still here as well, so watch out for these guys on this cycle. They may play a little strategy. Something may have happened to Will Parrish. Don't see him anymore on the racetrack, and I do believe Will Parrish is out of the race. Didn't catch that, but Will Parrish, who had the streak of 6 top 10s, is now out of the race here at Richmond. Chris Reynolds, though, is still trying to take this lead away from Dylan Young. That 22 has been able to hold right on to the back bumper of the 2. We'll have to see if Reynolds is able to take it away from Dylan Young before we get to the cycle. Going to be really interesting to see if that does happen. A great run for Dan Park so far in this one, running 4th. It's going to be his first point since new summer. The same goes for Dylan Young if he can hold on to a top 10 run. Of course, it's looking pretty good for Dylan Young, but you never know what's going to happen, especially with a cycle of pit stops, and it's looking like there's going to be a green flag cycle as well. Now, the big question is, when did Ethan Lewis come in? He came on lap 6. There's no way he's going to be able to make it to the end, I don't think. And even if he does, his tire wear is going to be significant compared to everybody else, so that's really going to put him at a disadvantage, so I doubt that he's going to be able to gain anything from having to come down earlier on in the race. Tough break for Will Parrish, who is now out of this one, as Hunter Braxton to the inside of Nathan Faden. That is for 5th. And that's going from 10 points. Actually, hold on a minute. I'm really sorry, guys. Hunter Braxton has now finally taken the points lead. He's now in the 10-point position. He was in the 8-point position when he got around Zach Winkle. It's been a long day. My apologies. But now Hunter Braxton, in 5th, has officially taken the points lead away from Noah Clifton as they currently run. Prescott was up high there as Dan Park trying to get around him, but Braxton, I would watch out for Braxton in this race. He's only 4 seconds behind. He is really fast out there. And you could definitely see him pull something off here in this event. Dylan Young's going to come down right here. He's going to be the first one to come down, and that might be a bit of a strategic play here for Dylan Young. However, you got to be careful. You may end up with a caution coming out in this race if you're not careful, and if that happens, that's it for you. You're going to be caught a lap down. I mean, it's been a clean race, though. We had that one incident yesterday, but it's looking pretty clean here today. Chris Reynolds is going to stay out another lap right here. Hunter Braxton's going to come down, and I think if this thing plays out where these guys coming down first get an advantage, I think Braxton may even move up through the field a little bit more, but Chris Reynolds is still out there, a couple laps ahead of his teammate, his theoretical teammate, I should say, Dylan Young, who is now a couple laps down. So this is where it gets a little interesting. If a caution comes out now, Dylan Young's kind of done. He's not going to win this race, so you got to be careful when you come down early on. Reynolds is down. Here comes Prescott, Dan Park, Faden, Winkle, Seth Cole, Logan Williams, Turner, Wright, Wilmington, Troxel, Stapleton. I think Christian Masters the only one who stayed out there. Oh, contact on the pit lane. Faden's going to take a heavy hit there from Priya McShane, and Faden was running top 10 in this race. I think we had another incident on the pit lane. Trey Wright in the 23 might have run into someone. It's a tight one here, and more contact there between Ethan Lewis and William Brock, and Lewis is going to take some damage from that. Masters down. You see Dylan Young there coming across. There's Chris Reynolds, though, in the 22. I don't think anyone played a strategy here. Oh boy, this is going to be tight. Reynolds is going to try to get the gas, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And I do also think Hunter Braxton may move inside a podium position here as well. He's going to go up to third, but you got Dan Park there, Vlad Prescott. Faden, even with the damage, I think will remain top 10. As Dylan Young will surpass Christian Master, take the race lead back away. And he's got a considerable gap from him to Chris Reynolds. It's looking good for Dylan Young. Started on the pole, did not get... He led the first lap, but he did lose the lead eventually, the Vlad Prescott. Now you have Ethan Lewis, who's trying to get one of his laps back here. He's now 2 laps down. This could come into effect here in terms of the race lead. Yeah, Hunter Braxton there in the 1 machine, currently running in the 3rd position. Dan Park there in 4th. Vlad Prescott inside the top 5. Master, Faden, Winkle. How about McShane? She had a great run there. She's going to move herself inside the top 10, take 9th away from Seth Cole, and then it's a considerable gap down to Logan Williams, who's 11th. And some guys did not have a good run on the pit lane, including Jesse Turner there. In the number 17, Trey Wright as well lost a lot of ground there, and you see Noah Clifton is still outside the top 10. Doesn't really matter for him at this point. Fast lap is still Chris Reynolds, who's currently 2nd. Be a huge run for Chris Reynolds. Going to get 19 points if he holds on to that fastest lap and holds on to 2nd place, and those 19 points would put him at a total of 56 points. Which puts him ahead of Nathan Ormond and Seth Cole out of the prior point standings. Hunter Braxton's going to get around Ethan Lewis here. Braxton's 3 seconds off the race lead. But we're running out of time here. All these guys are on equal sets of tires, so it's looking pretty good for Dylan Young, who's going for his 2nd win of the season here in the Wawa Pro Series. And only his 2nd top 10 here in these first 8 races as well. However, this is also going to shoot Dylan Young up in the point standings. But I think the bigger story is we're going to have a new points leader heading into Watkins Glen, and Hunter Braxton in the number 1 machine, currently running 3rd. Vlad Prescott's a little ways behind him there. I think Braxton is going to hold on to this position. That is 15 points, and he came in 8 behind, so it's going to be a 7-point lead heading into Watkins Glen for Hunter Braxton. And actually, at a point right there, because Braxton just took the fastest lap. He just stole that away from Chris Reynolds. So if Braxton holds on to that, that's 16 points for Hunter Braxton and an 8-point lead heading into Watkins Glen. We'll see if that changes here. But these guys getting those tires warmed up after the cycle, they are definitely putting some fast laps down right there. And Hunter Braxton late in the race looking to take that away. But Dylan Young only has 3.5 laps to go here in this Capital City 65K. We had a caution in the sprint race, but no yellows in this one. Dylan Young started on the pole, and that fastest lap in that sprint race is going to go a long way to him getting a good points day and a possible race victory here. Noah Clifton, now that is interesting right there. So even though Clifton is outside the top 10, he just took a point away from Hunter Braxton. Clifton can't get that point himself because he's not top 10. Now Chris Reynolds is taking it back away from those guys. Reynolds is trying to close in here on Dylan Young, but with the white flag in hand next time by, I just don't see it happening. But Reynolds may get that bonus point after all. So that would have been a beneficial point to Hunter Braxton, but Doesn't look like he's going to get it. Only unless he gets a great lap here on this final lap. White flag in the air, though, for Dylan Young in the number 2. And it's going to be a second win here of the season. Got the win in New Smyrna. He's going to get it here at Richmond. Off at turn 4, Dylan Young wins the Capital City 65K. Reynolds in second. Braxton with the podium. Then Vlad Prescott, Dan Park, Christian Master getting 6th. Great run for Master. Nathan Faden, even with that damage, getting 7th. Zach Winkle in 8th. Priya McShane in 9th. Seth Cole in 10th. All receiving championship points here today at Richmond. And the fastest lap will officially go to Chris Reynolds in the number 22. So 19 points for Reynolds here tonight at the Richmond Raceway. That was a good one. Dylan Young gets it done here at the Richmond Raceway with Reynolds and Braxton the podium. And Hunter Braxton will be your new points leader as both Clifton and Will Parrish failed to receive any championship points for the entire weekend. So, going to be interesting to see how those guys rebound at Watkins Glen. We're heading into a road course after their short track race. And those guys are going to be starting in the back for that sprint race. So, maybe they'll be able to get a fast lap. But there's not going to be many laps to do it at Watkins Glen come next time out. Dylan Young gets the win. Chris Reynolds, Hunter Braxton, Vlad Prescott, Dan Park, Christian Master, Nathan Faden, Zach Winkle, Priya McShane, and Seth Cole, the top 10, all receiving championship points here tonight. And Dylan Young going to go to 50 points on the season, which coming into the race would have put him 6th. He'll probably be a little bit further behind because Chris Reynolds also going to jump him there. 19 points for Chris Reynolds, though, getting that fastest lap, so that's going to really come into effect as the championship rolls on. And that's Chris Reynolds' 6th top 10 of the season. He's going to tie Will Parrish for a number of points paying finishes, but not only that, never mind. I thought it said he had 5 top 5s too. I'm reading this wrong. Only 1 top 5 in the season coming in. That's going to be a second top 5. That's going to be really good for Chris Reynolds in terms of this championship. So now you're going to throw Chris Reynolds and maybe even want to throw Dylan Young in the championship mix now as well. Hunter Braxton, though, coming into the Watkins Glen race, the points leader, that's going to really be interesting there and seeing how he fares with that one. But hey, we're going to have a great season here in the Wawa Pro Series, but we're also going to have a great season in the Haas IndyCar Series, which next weekend you are going to see the California 100 from the Auto Club Speedway. First race of the season, going to be a 50-lap race, and I'm going to do my best to do single car qualifying for that race as well. And try to do single car qualifying for all the oval races throughout the season. We'll just have to see how that works out. I can't make any guarantees, but we're going to try it. We're just going to try it. I think single car qualifying is a heck of a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with it once we head into Auto Club for the first race of the season and that 20-race season in the Haas IndyCar Series. And some of you guys here in this Wawa Pro Series are going to be racing in that, so it's going to be a great one. No doubt about it. The next race, like I mentioned here in the Wawa Pro Series, is going to be at Watkins Glen. The Watkins Glen Grand Prix, obviously the best road course in NR2003. We run on the boot, we skip the chicane, as always, and the strap-in is going to be a good one there around the greatest road course in the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Dylan Young for getting the race victory in this caution free race at Richmond, and here are the points for the Wawa Pro Series after 8 races. Try to do better the next time. We'll see you guys next time in Watkins Glen and next weekend for the California 100 in the Haas IndyCar Series. Congratulations to Dylan Young once again, and I will see you guys later.